May 29th, 2026, 3:17 a.m. Russian military base, Kursk region, 100 miles from Ukrainian border, deep inside Russian territory. Secondary explosion lights sky. HIMARS rockets impact. American-supplied precision weapons, striking Russian soil, destroying military infrastructure, creating crisis. Because Ukraine using US weapons to hit targets inside Russia crosses lines, violates understandings, threatens escalation. That's what Russia claims. That's what Moscow broadcasts. That American weapons striking Russian territory is unacceptable, is violating red lines, is requiring response. That's diplomatic crisis. That's strategic escalation. That's everything US wanted to avoid, wanted to prevent, wanted to manage through restrictions, through limitations on weapon use, through conditions preventing exactly this scenario. But Ukraine struck anyway, used American HIMARS, targeted base 100 miles inside Russia, created situation forcing US response, forcing Biden administration to address, forcing choices between supporting Ukraine and avoiding World War III. That's impossible position. That's diplomatic nightmare. That's strategic crisis requiring careful navigation, requiring balancing alliance obligations against escalation risks, requiring supporting Ukraine without enabling Russian retaliation against American interests. That's what May 29th creates. That's immediate crisis. That's diplomatic pressure. But that's not complete story. Because strike wasn't random, wasn't targeting ordinary base, wasn't just military facility, was targeting specific warehouse, was destroying specific cargo, was eliminating North Korean missiles. That's revelation. That's exposure. That's proving strike accomplished more than military damage, accomplished strategic intelligence, revealed Russian desperation, revealed Moscow importing arms, revealed that Russia needs foreign weapons, needs North Korean support, needs external supply, because domestic production insufficient. What strike exposed, that's what warehouse contained. That's truth transforming crisis into opportunity, transforming escalation into revelation, transforming diplomatic problem into intelligence success. Because discovering North Korean missiles matters more than strike controversy. Because proving Russian desperation matters more than managing escalation. Because exposing foreign arms imports matters more than navigating diplomatic crisis. That's strategic value. That's intelligence achievement. That's everything about May 29th, 2026. That strike revealed Russian vulnerability. That American weapons exposed Moscow's weakness. That controversial attack accomplished strategic objectives beyond immediate damage. The numbers create impossible calculation. 100 miles inside Russia, 24 HIMARS rockets, 1 military base destroyed, 12 secondary explosions, everything suggesting successful strike, everything proving American weapons work, everything demonstrating Ukrainian capability, but also everything creating crisis. Because 100 miles isn't border area, isn't contested territory, isn't gray zone, is definitely Russian territory, is unambiguously inside Russia, is crossing line that US wanted maintained. That's why numbers matter. That's why distance creates crisis. That 100 miles transforms strike from border conflict to strategic escalation, from acceptable military operation to diplomatic incident, from supporting Ukraine to enabling attacks on Russia. That's calculation Biden administration faces. That's political pressure requiring response. That's strategic dilemma created by 100 miles. by Ukrainian decision to strike deep, by using American weapons for controversial target. That's choice Ukraine made. That's risk they accepted. That's consequences they created for themselves, for US, for alliance. That's what numbers mean politically. But militarily, numbers tell different story. Tell story of successful strike, of precision targeting, of destroying valuable assets. 12 secondary explosions prove warehouse contained ammunition, contained explosives, contained something volatile, something valuable, something worth striking despite political cost. What? That's question requiring answer. That's detail transforming controversy. That's revelation changing calculation. Because warehouse didn't contain Russian ammunition, contained North Korean missiles, contained foreign weapons, contained proof Russia needs external supply. That's what 12 explosions revealed. What intelligence confirmed. What makes strike strategically valuable despite diplomatic cost. That's different calculation. That's proving attack wasn't reckless, was strategic, was targeting specific intelligence, was destroying evidence Russia wanted hidden. That's what numbers ultimately prove. That 100 miles and 12 explosions equal strategic success despite political controversy. Stay with me. Because what intelligence discovers about warehouse reveals more than just strike success, reveals systematic Russian arms importing and dependence on foreign weapons that exposes military weakness. General Mark Stevens coordinated US response. Joint Chiefs, 30 years military service. He received notification. Ukrainian strike. Deep inside Russia. American weapons used. Immediate crisis. Stevens understood implications, understood political complexity, understood that supporting Ukraine while managing escalation required balance, required careful response, required acknowledging Ukrainian operations while maintaining American position, that Russia shouldn't be surprised, that military bases are legitimate targets, that Ukraine has right to defend itself. That's careful diplomatic language. That's strategic messaging. That's everything except direct support for controversial strike. That's balancing act Stevens managed while understanding complete picture, while knowing what intelligence revealed, while recognizing that warehouse contained North Korean missiles. That strike exposed Russian desperation. That controversy obscured strategic success. That's what Stevens knew, what he couldn't publicly acknowledge, what remained classified while diplomatic crisis played out. That's intelligence reality. That's proving successful strike paradoxically creates political problem, creates situation where military success becomes diplomatic liability, where destroying valuable target creates controversy exceeding celebration. That's complexity Stevens managed. That's balance requiring maintenance. That's everything about May 29th from American military perspective. Success requiring careful handling. Intelligence requiring protection. Revelation requiring classification. All while managing escalation. All while supporting Ukraine. All while avoiding World War III. That's impossible position made manageable through careful response, through strategic messaging, through protecting intelligence while managing crisis. At 6 a.m., 3 hours after strike, Russia issued statement, condemned Ukrainian attack, condemned American weapons use, threatened escalation, threatened retaliation against American interests, everything designed to create pressure, everything intended to force US response, everything calculated to divide alliance, to create wedge between US and Ukraine. to force Americans to restrict weapon use, to prevent future strikes. That's Russian strategy. That's diplomatic pressure. That's attempting to weaponize controversy, to transform Ukrainian success into American problem, to make strike cost exceed benefit. That's calculation Moscow made. That's response they implemented. That's pressure they applied. But strategy assumed strike was ordinary. Assumed target was standard military base. Assumed controversy exceeded value. Strategy didn't account for revelation, didn't consider what strike exposed, didn't recognize that destroyed warehouse contained evidence Russia wanted hidden, contained North Korean missiles, contained proof of foreign arms dependence. That's what Russian response missed, what diplomatic pressure ignored, what controversy obscured. That strike accomplished more than damage, accomplished intelligence collection, accomplished exposing Russian weakness. That's strategic value exceeding diplomatic cost. That's what Stevens understood, what classified intelligence revealed, what transformed controversy into success despite political pressure. But here's what intelligence discovered in warehouse debris. Here's evidence proving North Korean supply. Here's why revealing Russian arms imports matters more than managing diplomatic crisis. Intelligence analyzed strike imagery, analyzed secondary explosions, analyzed debris patterns, everything suggesting warehouse contained missiles, contained foreign weapons, contained specific signatures, North Korean, KN-23 missiles, short-range ballistic weapons, everything proving Russia imported arms. Imported because domestic production insufficient. Imported because war depleted stockpiles. Imported because Moscow desperate for weapons. That's revelation. That's strategic intelligence. That's proving strike exposed Russian vulnerability. Exposed weakness Russia wanted hidden. Exposed dependence on foreign supply. That's why warehouse mattered. Why targeting was strategic. Why strike accomplished objectives beyond immediate damage. Because destroying North Korean missiles is tactical success. But proving Russia needs North Korean missiles is strategic victory. Is exposing weakness. Is revealing desperation. Is demonstrating that Moscow cannot sustain war through domestic production alone. Needs foreign weapons. Needs external supply. Needs North Korean support. That's uncomfortable truth for Russia. That's strategic vulnerability requiring acknowledgement. That's what intelligence proved. What strike revealed. What May 29th accomplished beyond controversy. Complete exposure of Russian arms imports. Complete documentation of foreign dependence. Complete proof that Moscow is desperate. Is depleting stockpiles, is requiring external supply. That's strategic intelligence exceeding diplomatic cost. That's what makes strike valuable, despite controversy. That's everything about revelation changing calculation. Investigation traced supply route, found North Korean shipments arriving Russian ports, found systematic transfers, found evidence of regular deliveries. Found everything proving this wasn't isolated. Was systematic program. Was Russia importing substantial quantities? Was Moscow dependent on Pyongyang for weapons supply? That's scope. That's systematic relationship. That's proving single warehouse wasn't isolated storage. Was part of larger supply chain. Was component of systematic arms imports. That Russia needs foreign weapons, needs North Korean missiles, needs external supply for sustaining operations. That's strategic revelation requiring understanding, requiring acknowledging that Russian military is constrained, is limited, is dependent, not self-sufficient, not capable of sustaining operations indefinitely through domestic production, requires foreign support, requires North Korean weapons, requires systematic imports. That's vulnerability. That's weakness. That's everything intelligence exposed. Everything strike revealed. Everything May 29th accomplished strategically. Not just destroying warehouse, exposing systematic foreign arms dependence, not just damaging base, revealing strategic vulnerability, not just successful strike, intelligence collection proving Russian desperation. That's complete value. That's full achievement. That's everything about May 29th, beyond immediate controversy. Analysis also revealed timing. Found North Korean shipment arrived recently. Found warehouse contained fresh delivery. Found strike timing was deliberate. Was targeting specific cargo. Was destroying specific shipment. Was eliminating weapons before distribution. That's operational intelligence. That's proving Ukraine knew what warehouse contained. New shipment arrived. New timing mattered. That's intelligence-driven targeting. That's sophisticated operations. That's proving strike wasn't random, wasn't just hitting Russian base, was eliminating specific threat, was destroying foreign weapons, was accomplishing strategic objective. That's military professionalism. That's intelligence success. That's everything suggesting Ukraine operates with capability, with information, with strategic understanding. That targeting is precise. That operations are calculated. That strikes accomplish objectives beyond immediate damage. That's what timing revealed. What intelligence coordination demonstrated. What systematic analysis proved. That May 29th was planned, was deliberate, was targeting specific intelligence, was accomplishing strategic objectives. That's complete picture. That's full understanding. That's everything about strike beyond controversy. General Stevens briefed President, explained intelligence, explained North Korean missiles, explained strategic value despite diplomatic cost, explained that strike exposed Russian weakness, exposed foreign dependence, exposed everything Moscow wanted hidden. That's complete briefing. That's full picture. That's enabling presidential decision, enabling response balancing support and caution, enabling statement acknowledging Ukrainian operations while managing escalation. That's what intelligence enabled, what revelation facilitated, what discovery made possible. Presidential response was measured, was acknowledging Ukrainian right to defend, was understanding Russian complaints, was everything except apologizing for strike, was carefully balanced, was strategically calibrated, was managing impossible position through careful language, through diplomatic skill, through acknowledging complexity while maintaining position. That's presidential leadership. That's navigating crisis. That's managing escalation while supporting ally. That's everything about response to May 29th. Not abandoning Ukraine, not restricting weapons, not accepting Russian pressure, but also not celebrating controversial strike, not publicizing intelligence, not revealing North Korean missiles. That's classified success. That's hidden victory. That's strategic achievement requiring protection, requiring careful handling, requiring balance between revelation and restraint. That's what Stevens enabled, what intelligence provided, what presidential decision implemented. That's complete response. That's full strategy. That's everything about managing May 29th, 2026. Russia never acknowledged North Korean missiles, never admitted foreign arms imports, never revealed warehouse contents, just condemned strike, just threatened escalation, just applied diplomatic pressure. That's strategic messaging. That's protecting vulnerability. That's ensuring weakness remains hidden. Except it didn't. Except strike exposed. Except intelligence revealed. Except May 29th proved Russian dependence, proved foreign supply, proved strategic weakness, all classified, all protected, all known only to intelligence services. That's reality of modern warfare. That public story differs from classified truth. That diplomatic crisis obscures strategic success. That controversy hides intelligence achievement. That May 29th appears as escalation publicly, appears as strategic victory classified. That's dual reality. That's complete picture. That's everything about strike beyond public understanding. That warehouse contained North Korean missiles. That Russia imports foreign weapons. That Moscow is desperate. That strike exposed weakness. That intelligence succeeded. That controversy obscured victory. That strategic success remains classified. That everything about May 29th is more complex than appears, more valuable than acknowledged, more significant than public knows. That's truth. That's reality. That's everything. Forever.